I tested 7 tomato hacks. Only one worked. Here's why. 38 tomatoes from one plant. While the plant right next to it using the most popular gardening hack on the internet gave me 19. I'm about to show you which tomato planting trick actually works and which ones are complete waste of your time. And I promise you, what I found will shock you. Welcome to Senior Gardening Tips. What you're about to see is going to change everything you thought you knew about growing tomatoes. Here's what I did. I planted 7 identical tomato plants. Same seeds, same day, same soil, same everything. But I used a different popular planting method on each one. Methods you've probably tried yourself. And for 4 straight months, I watched, measured, and counted every single difference. No guessing, no opinions, just cold hard numbers. One method crushed everything else by 65%. And honestly, I almost didn't even try it because it sounded too good to be true. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button right now because I'm about to save you years of wasted effort and show you exactly what actually works in a real garden. 7 plants. 7 famous tricks. Let me introduce you to the contestants. Plant number 1. The internet's favorite. Banana peels and crushed eggshells buried under the roots. You've seen this everywhere, right? Supposed to be liquid gold for tomatoes. Plant number 2. Epsom salt mixed into the planting hole. The gardening forums swear by this one. Magnesium for massive fruit, they say. Plant number 3. Aspirin water. Soak the roots in dissolved aspirin before planting. Supposed to boost the immune system. Plant number 4. Deep burial. Strip the bottom leaves and bury 2/3 of the stem underground. More roots equals more tomatoes, supposedly. Plant number 5. Trench planting. Lay the entire stem horizontally in a shallow trench. Only the top sticks out. Plant number 6. Just a normal surface transplant. No tricks. No hacks. This is my control. My baseline. And plant number 7. The one nobody talks about. The one I almost skipped. We'll get to that in a minute. Drop a comment right now and tell me which one you think won. I bet you'll be wrong. 3 weeks in, I'm walking down the row with my measuring tape and my notebook. And I'm already seeing things that don't add up. The banana peel plant? Exactly the same as the control. Same height. Same leaves. Same everything. And when I think about it, of course it is. That banana peel is sitting 2 inches below the roots. It hasn't even started decomposing yet. It's just sitting there like a wet sock doing absolutely nothing. The Epsom salt plant? Also identical to the control. Not taller. Not greener. Not anything. And this one hurt because I've used Epsom salt for years based on what I read online. The aspirin plant caught my eye though. The leaves had this deep, rich green color that looked healthier than everything else. Not bigger. Not taller. Just greener. Like something was happening under the surface. Deep burial was shorter than the control, which made sense because I buried most of the stem. But here's the thing. It was supposed to be exploding with roots by now. The theory says more buried stem equals more roots equals more growth. So why was it lagging? Trench planting surprised me. Despite being laid sideways in the ground, it had already caught up in height and looked bushier than the others. Darker leaves. Thicker stem. Something about that shallow horizontal position was working. And then I got to plant number 7. And I stopped dead in my tracks. 15.5 inches tall. 3 weeks. A stem so thick I could barely wrap my fingers around it. And 3 full flower clusters already buzzing with bees. Every other plant was just starting to think about flowering. This one was already weeks ahead. I actually went back inside and checked my notes to make sure I hadn't made a mistake with the planting dates. I hadn't. This plant had simply taken off like a rocket. 6 weeks in, and the differences aren't subtle anymore. My control plant has 6 developing tomatoes. Healthy. Normal. This is what good gardening with no tricks looks like. This is my baseline. Banana peels and eggshells. 7 fruit. Basically the same as the control. Those eggshells are still sitting in the soil, barely broken down at all. They'll take years to release that calcium. Years. This isn't a planting trick. This is compost that people convince themselves belongs in the hole. Epsom salt is tracking the control almost exactly. Same height. Same fruit count. If there's magic happening, it's doing an excellent job of hiding. Deep burial has 4 fruit developing, and it's shorter than the control. Wait. More roots were supposed to mean more performance. The The roots are forming. I can see them when I carefully dig around the base. But the performance isn't following. Something's not adding up here. Trench planting is right there competing with the control. 7 developing fruit. Almost the same height. It's actually doing better than deep burial, even though both methods bury the stem. Why? And then there's plant number 7. 22 inches tall at 6 weeks. 14 developing fruit. More than double the control. If you brush the mulch aside at the base, you can actually see white threads in the soil. Not roots. Something else. A network. Smash that like button if you want to know what plant 7 is. We're getting there. Trust me. Alright. For months. Harvest day. Every plant pulled from the ground. Every tomato counted. Root systems examined. Here are the final numbers. Starting from the bottom. Deep burial. 19 tomatoes. Fewer than my plain control plant. And when I pulled it up, I understood why. Yes, new roots formed along the buried stem. But they were thin and weak compared to the dense root mass at the original transplant zone. The plant wasted energy building underground infrastructure that never paid off above ground. Banana peels and eggshells. 20 tomatoes. The banana peel was mostly gone. The eggshells were still there. Still hard. Still useless. 1 tomato more than deep burial means absolutely nothing. Trench planting. 21 tomatoes. The root system here was actually impressive. Thick aggressive roots all along that horizontal buried stem fanning out through the warm shallow soil. Way more roots than deep burial. And here's why. 4 inches of soil is warmer than 10 inches. Warmer soil means better root growth. Physics beats theory. My control plant. 23 tomatoes. Normal healthy roots. No tricks. No additions. This is your starting point. Epsom salt. 22 tomatoes. 1 fewer than the control. Statistically identical. I know this hurts some of you. But the internet claimed that Epsom salt supercharges tomatoes was not supported by what happened in my actual garden. Aspirin water. 24 tomatoes. 1 more than the control. 1 tomato. I cannot honestly say that 1 extra tomato justifies the hype. That's normal variation between plants. And now, plant number 7. 38 tomatoes. Let that sink in. 38 tomatoes from 1 plant. That's 65% more than the control. Same variety. Same bed. Same water. Same sun. The only difference was what I put on the roots on planting day. Mycorrhizal fungi. That's plant number 7. I know. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. But here's the truth. This is a biological relationship that's been around for 400 million years. This isn't new. This isn't a trend. This is how plants have been feeding themselves since before dinosaurs existed. Here's how it works. When you plant a tomato, the roots can only reach so far into the soil. Maybe 6 inches. Maybe 8. That's it. Mycorrhizal fungi are microscopic threads that extend from your plant's roots out into the soil. And these threads cover thousands of times more surface area than roots ever could. We're talking feet, yards, a whole underground network. The fungi deliver water and nutrients from soil zones your roots would never reach. In exchange, your plant gives the fungi a tiny bit of sugar. It's a trade, and both sides win. When I pulled plant number 7 at the end of the season, the root system was extraordinary. Dense white roots completely intertwined with visible fungal threads extending in every direction. This plant had been accessing resources all season long that the other 6 plants couldn't physically reach. That's why it won. Not by a little, by a landslide. And the best part? Applying it takes 30 seconds. Here's exactly what you do. Buy a bag of granular mycorrhizal inoculant. Any garden center. Online. $5 to $10. 1 bag will last you dozens of transplants over multiple seasons. On planting day, when you take your seedling out of its pot, sprinkle 1 tablespoon of the inoculant directly onto the exposed root ball. Make sure the granules touch the roots. Dust another tablespoon into the bottom of your planting hole before you put the plant in. Transplant at surface level. Same depth the plant was sitting in its pot. Not deeper. Water it in slowly and deeply. That's it. 30 extra seconds. 2 tablespoons of powder. Done. Now here's the critical part. 2 things will kill the fungal network before it establishes. Synthetic phosphorus fertilizer. It tells the plant it doesn't need the fungi anymore, and the relationship breaks down. Fungicide. It kills the fungi outright. Keep both away from your transplants for the first 3 to 4 weeks. After that, the network is permanently established and sustains itself for the entire life of the plant. You don't do anything else. It just works. Want to take this even further? Here's what I'm doing this season. 14 days before transplant day, start putting your seedlings outside for 2 hours a day. Morning sun, afternoon shade. Add an hour each day. Gradually move them into fuller sun. By transplant day, your plant should be comfortable sitting in 8 hours of direct sunlight without wilting. This is called hardening off. It acclimates the plant to real outdoor conditions before it ever goes in the ground. A hardened-off plant experiences zero transplant shock. It was already living outside before you planted it. Now combine that with mycorrhizal fungi on the root ball. The fungi immediately start building their network in soil the plant is already completely at home in. No adjustment period. No recovery week. Just a plant that hits the ground running and puts every available resource directly into flowers and fruit. In my zone, this combination gives me ripe tomatoes 12 to 14 days ahead of a standard transplant. 12 to 14 days. That's 2 extra weeks of fresh tomatoes while your neighbors are still staring at green ones wondering what they're doing wrong. Quick troubleshooting before we wrap up. If your plant wilts within the first day or 2 after transplanting and doesn't recover, you tore roots when you removed it from the pot. Loosen the root ball gently. Don't rip and tear. If wilting lasts more than 2 days despite watering, drape light fabric over the plant to reduce sun stress for 3 to 4 days while roots stabilize. Flowers forming, then dropping before fruit sets? Temperature problem. Below 55 at night or above 95 during the day renders tomato pollen non-viable. The flowers abort. Wait for stable temperatures before you transplant. Yellow leaves at the base of the plant? Nitrogen deficiency. Side dress with compost or fish emulsion. Plant recovers in about 10 days. Fruit cracking after heavy rain? Inconsistent watering. The inside grows faster than the skin can stretch. Drip irrigation on a timer prevents most of it. 2 inches of mulch buffers soil moisture swings. 7 methods. 1 clear winner. And it wasn't even close. Mycorrhizal fungi produced 65% more fruit than the control. Everything else landed somewhere between marginally useful and complete waste of time. The gardening internet will keep pushing banana peels and Epsom salt because those ideas are sticky and feel intuitive. And nobody ever actually tests them properly. But now you know what the evidence looks like when somebody does. Here's what I want you to do. Go grab a bag of mycorrhizal inoculant before your next transplant day. It costs less than 2 gallons of gas. Dust those roots. Plant at the right depth. Keep synthetic fertilizer away for the first month. And then watch what your garden does when you give it the right foundation. If this video gave you something real, something you're actually going to use this season, subscribe to Senior Gardening Tips right now. Every single week, I test real methods in my actual garden and bring you the results. No hype. No recycled internet advice. Just what actually works. Share this video with the gardener in your life who keeps trying everything and can't figure out why nothing is working. The answer might be 30 seconds and $10 away. Thank you for watching. Now go grow something incredible. Happy gardening, friends. See you in the next one.